pasa? What's up? Antonio Serrano here, and today I have a magical tip. In this case, I want to show you a little bit behind the curtains. I want to share with you some ideas that I have for some routines in different stages of development. Some of these routines are in a very early stage. I just thought about them like a couple of days ago. Some of the routines are routines that I've been thinking about them more time, but they are not finished. And all of these ideas have in common that they are just that, ideas. Some of them have some kind of procedure behind them, like writing some kind of script or trying to build some props, but none of these ideas have been presented in front of the audience. And that's a very, very important thing to do, to even consider that you have something. If you have never performed something in front of a crowd, you don't have a trick. You may have an idea, you may have a thought, you may have some working process, but until you put it in front of people and people more or less sort of like it, you cannot say that you have something in there. So I'm going to share with you some routines that I've been working. The first routine that I want to share with you is a bank night routine. Yes, and this routine starts, and you are going to see that most of my ideas don't come from the magic trick itself. They come from an object that I think is funny, an idea that I think is funny, or some jokes. In this case, the bank night idea comes from a stand-up routine that I wrote a long time ago talking about banks. I never perform as a stand-up comedian. I do stand-up, but always hidden in the middle of my tricks. And I was looking through the Word document that I have with all of the bits, comedy gags that I wrote that are just comedy based. They are just, if I wanted to do a stand-up show, I don't see myself doing that anytime soon, but if I have to do a stand-up show, I have a lot of material written in this document, right? I don't know if it is any good, because most of it I never tried in front of people, but I have a lot of material written in that document. So I found this great stand-up piece talking about banks, and they were like saying silly things about banks and how they work, and crazy names of banks that I created, right? And I said, oh my god, I think that this could be great to do a trick with it. And it was when it hit me, when I saw John Archer's, I have seen this trick performed a long time ago, right, in Penn and Teller, John Archer's Blank Night, it is, right? And I saw that quite recently, like a couple of weeks, 3 weeks ago, when I was like, oh, that's great for the jokes that I have with the banks. Like each envelope can be a letter that this bank sent me, right? And people can choose some of these envelopes, and inside you can have like a piece of paper that is something bad, like I have to pay something extra to my bank or something like that, and the spectator has to do it because he took that envelope, and the last envelope that is mine contains some money or a present that the bank wants to have with me, some kind of that. So I think it's quite interesting, but I don't know how I am going to approach the bank night element. In this case, I have almost everything in this routine. I even have the envelopes. I was playing around with the Word and all that stuff, and I could print out, I am very bad technologically speaking, I don't know a lot about that, but I could print out very nice envelopes with the names of the silly names of banks that they don't exist here in Spain or anywhere, and I do some jokes like a bank is called Yes and the other bank is called No, and there are some jokes back and forth because they are opposite sides in the spectrum of the banking area. So it's quite interesting joke. It's a joke. It's just a comedy routine, but it can be changed, it can be turned into a trick simply by using the envelopes and making people choose one, and I have something nice inside. I don't know if I'm going to do John Archer's routine. I have seen John Archer's routine in several lectures, but I don't own those envelopes. I don't know if I'm going to do like a classic bank night effect using a thumb tip to produce the bill. I don't like it because I want to use normal envelopes that a bank would send to your house, and I don't like having a big envelope and then produce a tiny little bill using a thumb tip. Or I could use some kind of like a bank wave, something like that routine, where you have multiple envelopes and you always make the spectator choose between two, like choose one for you, and from these two, choose one for me, and all that stuff. That's another way to do it. And instead of me having one envelope that is good, I have 3 or 4 envelopes that are good, and the spectators have 3 or 4 envelopes that are bad. Another way to perform this effect would be with gimmicked envelopes. I have took a look at that. There is a lot of literature about Max Maven talking about gimmicked envelopes to perform tricks like this. Yeah, so I could use gimmicked envelopes. I don't know if I'm going to use that, or I could even use a patio force. I have performed the patio force a lot of times using random objects. I learned this routine the first time that I was introduced in the patio force technique was by Mark James' #1 penguin lecture, right? The first one that he did, and it was quite nice. So I thought that the patio force was not going to be that deceitful, right? But it is, for the audience love it. So I could also have like any number of envelopes, do a patio force. So in this trick I have everything around the trick, I have everything, but I don't have a method. You are going to see that for each idea that I am going to show you, there are things that are missing. They are in a completely different state. For example, another idea. In this case, I have the trick because it is a dealer item. I would like to do in my show knots of silk. Jeff McBride has put out a lot of versions of this trick. I love the one with the smiley face, and the 2 eyes are the holes where the knots were supposed to be. And I love the poetry of it, the theatricality of it, right? Doing the knot and taking it out and put it inside of the glass. But the main problem with that routine for me is, #1, it is extremely short. I don't want to simply take out a silk, do a couple of knots, because I think that 3 knots is too much. I only want to do it twice. So I don't want to pull out the silk, do a knot, slide it, boom, do another knot, slide it, boom. I don't want to do that and then show the holes. I need to do something extra. I would love to show a handkerchief with no holes, completely normal, do something with that handkerchief, and then in the act of taking the glass from my case, I can do the switcheroo and pull out the silk, putting the glass on top of the case, and then I do the knots off, I put the knots inside the glass, and then I show the silk with the 2 holes. So I need something to do with the normal silk with no holes. I need something to do with that normal silk for the first phase of the routine, and then I want some kind of original bit to it. I want something that is mine, something that is original. And I also want like a reason. Why am I doing a knot and sliding the knot out of the silk? Why am I doing that? And why can I show 2 holes? What's the purpose behind that? I am not like a theatrical magician or like a beautiful magician. I always try to do things. Sometimes I achieve my goals, sometimes I don't, but I never do something in my show for the sake of doing it. I always have a purpose in mind. If it is changing something from one color to the other, or guessing a car, or showing a trick, explaining a trick to the audience, or telling a story, I always have a purpose. So that's what I need. I need the script, I need the idea. Something for the first phase, that's something that I don't have, and also the idea. So yeah, this trick is in that section, right? The envelope doesn't have a method, the banknote doesn't have a method, but has a routine, jokes, and script. And in this case, the knots of silks is completely the other way around. I have the trick, I have the method, but I don't have the frame, I don't have the idea behind the trick, okay? Next thing, this is very interesting. In this case, I have the idea, I know what I would do, I know exactly how to frame it, but I don't have the prop. So you can see that to have a magic trick 100% finished, to perform it in front of a live crowd, there are a lot of things that you need to keep in mind. And in this case, I have everything, but I don't have the prop, because it's something that I thought about like, I don't know, a couple of days ago. And it is to make foam, like sponge, popcorn. I don't know if anyone has ever thought about this, but I was like, yeah, it was a YouTube video that appeared in my YouTube app in my phone, and it was like an art and crafts video to do popcorn garlands for Christmas, and that's not typical in Spain to do garlands with popcorn. And it was like a garland with popcorn, but fake popcorn using styrofoam, and I was like, I wonder if I could do like a sponge popcorn, and it suddenly hit me like, Oh my, yeah, a routine of multiplying rabbits or a SpongeBob routine, but using like this big of a size foam popcorn. And popcorn look like something squishy. That they have like that kind of an image. So it would be quite nice. It would be extremely nice to do a routine. And I also thought automatically my brain starts brainstorming, and I said I can have like a bowl, like a popcorn bowl, transparent bowl. So people, instead of opening the hand and going, yeah, I have two. When you're performing close up, that's okay. But when you're performing on stage, if someone opens the hand and it's like that and has two sponge balls or two popcorns in this case, people sitting at the back of the room, they are not going to see it. But if you have a bowl and you said, please drop whatever you have in your hand in the bowl, and goes boom. Now you can see the two pieces of popcorn. Everyone can see it. And it makes sense to have a bowl with popcorn inside, and at the end we can have like a giant explosion of sponge popcorn, and we have the bowl completely full. And that's a trick. Okay, now we are ready to watch the show. Would you like to have some popcorn? It's quite nice. And I can even start the routine with some corn, like the kernels corn, and change one of them to the sponge popcorn. I think that it would be quite nice. I don't know if you agree with me, but I think that it is a creative idea, something interesting, and it could be performed for kids or adults. I think it's quite nice. I think it's quite nice. Okay, the next idea that I have is quite crazy. At the first thought, the idea was to do something related to food. I would love to have something related to food because I wanted to do a gag that was basically I am eating something and I get so amazed by the thing that I am watching that all of the food that I have in my mouth drops to the ground. I really love the odd sense, like that crazy feeling that people get when you are eating. I love eating things on stage because it gives like a I don't care factor, right? Which is something quite important in my show. I don't care. I am not here like, ooh, I am the magician. Oh my god, my attitude is like, I'm hungry. Can you please give me a cookie? Thank you very much. That's my attitude. So, and I really like the gag of eating. Oh my god, like I am quite normal, quite usual, and suddenly I hear something or I see something that is so amazing that all of the food drops to the ground. I think it's quite funny. So my first idea was to do a sign card to pancake, and I thought that this was a great idea, and I had a method in mind that I have used in other impossible locations with sign cards. For example, my card to mouth that I perform on stage, I do this technique where I am not putting the sign card into my mouth. I am using a duplicate and I am changing the duplicate after the trick is done, right? So yeah, the effect is quite clean. It's 100% clean because at any moment I moved the sign selection from one place to the other, right? I am using a duplicate for that. So I wanted to do the exact same thing with the pancake. What was the problem? It is impossible to cook a pancake with a card inside without ruining the card. I did it and I was, oh, this is great. I cooked the pancake looks great and has a card inside, and when I opened the pancake, the card was like completely full of batter. The batter was like inside the card. It was, and you try to rub it like that, and you were rubbing the whole card. Quite weird, because if you think about it, when you are cooking a pancake and you put the card inside, the batter is wet, so that wet batter is going inside the card, and when the batter cooks, there is some batter that is completely stuck to the card. So it makes no sense. And I didn't want to cook the pancake and then do a slit or something like that to load the duplicate. I didn't want to do that. I want the pancake or any food item to be 100% examinable. So I changed to a sandwich. You can do a peanut butter sandwich or a Nutella sandwich, which is more popular here. And it's great because now, when the card appears inside, the card is quite messy. You can clean it if you want to check the signature, but it's quite messy, which makes it great because the spectator that is with me on stage, he's not going to touch the card. He doesn't want to because it's very messy, so he's going to check the signature like far away. People in the crowd can see the duplicate and they are not going to get suspicious about the signature. And in the act of going to my suitcase to take some paper napkins and a plastic bag to put the signed card inside and give it as a souvenir, I can switch the duplicate that was inside of the sandwich for the truly signed card. And I can have some kind of gimmickry or something weird inside the plastic bag so that the selection gets dirty of peanut butter or Nutella, so everything is cohesive, right? I think it's great. And I also have another way of changing the card. Instead of going to the suitcase to change the card, I have an idea with a paper bag. Okay, like I have the card full of Nutella or peanut butter, and when I go to take paper napkins and the plastic bag, clear plastic bag, I can do the switch as I'm going up and pretending to take the card and drop it. I have many ways. And also, I have two different presentations to sign the card. The first presentation is the spectator signs the card gets lost, and I cannot find the card. It's impossible for me to find the card. So let's eat. And I pull out like a Tupperware full of sandwiches. And the other idea that I have is the spectator signs a card, I produce the two kings, two jacks, or the two jokers, and I do on stage a sandwich effect. I find the selection, the sign selection, I find it in the middle of two cards. And I say, this is a sandwich trick. But it is quite boring. It is very small, people in the back cannot see it. If you want to do a sandwich trick where two things find the selection, right? Let's do a proper sandwich trick. And that's the moment when I put the rubber band on the deck of cards, toss it in the case, and I pull out a paper bag that it has been the entire time separated from everything else with the Tupperware, and inside the Tupperware there are like 4 or 5 sandwiches. And now I can do a proper sandwich trick, like take the sandwiches, shuffle the sandwiches, the spectator is the only one touching the sandwiches, choose one, show it to the audience, put it inside, shuffle, and now I'm going to find your sandwich, and I take the sandwich that I know that I have to take. This is your sandwich, that's great. And when I start breaking off the sandwich, I start eating all the sandwich, and I go, okay, what was your card? The spectator says the 9 of hearts, and it was signed. And that's the moment when I go, and all of the food drops to the floor, right? And I turn around the card, yes, it is the 3 of diamonds or whatever card it is, with your signature, that's great. I'm going to give you some napkins, and I go for the napkins, and I change the card in that moment, or I can change it, as I said, in the paper bag. What's the problem with this trick, with this idea that I have? In the other routines, I don't have a method, I don't have a script, I don't have an idea, or I don't have a prop. In this case, the problem with this routine is that I have a lot of options. And that's something that if you have been some time performing as a magician and creating things as a magician or performer, sometimes you don't know what is worse. Sometimes you don't know if it is worse to wanting to have some kind of idea and you don't have it, like I need something, I need a script, I need an idea, and you have nothing, or if it is worse to have like 10 different ideas and you don't know which one to choose. It's very difficult to decide which of those two scenarios is the worst, not having a thing or having too much to choose from. So that's the point where I found myself in this routine. I know what I want to do, I know the line, I know the method, but I have different handlings, different presentations. The first phase with the cards could be a mistake or could be a sandwich sequence. So I have no idea how I'm going to frame it. As simple as that. So it is an idea that is in a working process. And the last idea that I want to share with you is an illusion, which is something that is quite weird because I never do illusions. Basically because I don't perform in a venue that allows me to do illusions. Most of the places where I perform, the audience is there even before I arrive, and I have no curtains, I have no stage, so it is impossible to set and remove an illusion. And this idea, I had it for a long time, but I cannot perform it, so why am I going to think about it? And it is basically like a sword box with a cardboard, and instead of real swords, I use balloon swords. And my assistant, my girl, my beautiful assistant, lovely assistant, is going to be made of balloons. So I have like a balloon figure, same size as me, made of balloons. A girl with long hair and a beautiful dress, and I dance with her, and I have a gag where I dance with her and the head falls, and I'm like, oh, she's losing the hair for me. She's losing her head for me. Oh my God. I don't know if that's an expression, losing your head for someone, but in Spanish that means that you are falling in love with someone when you lose your head for them. So I put once again the head of the balloon sculpture there, and I dance with her. I put the balloon inside the bag, inside the cardboard box that I previously showed that was empty. I start jamming the balloon source. A balloon source can pop. I can go like kind of a big illusionist, but everything is like a cardboard and balloons, like and doing that, bam, a balloon source pops. I'm like, oh my god, and I'm so scared. And after all this skit, I go like, ta-da, and people is like, you did nothing. I pull out the balloon source, and when I open up the box, a real woman emerges from the cardboard box. I think that's quite nice, and it is basically the appearance, the production of a person, right? The appearance of a woman. Obviously, the woman would have a wig and a dress exactly the same as the balloon figure. So it would be quite nice. It would be quite nice to do this routine. And I have different options. We can do like a tip over trunk, but it is very difficult to do a tip over trunk and have holes to push the balloon source. I could do like a square circle kind of thing with 2 cardboard boxes. I could do like a light and heavy box. Do you know what I mean? The box where you cannot show that it is empty, but I can take it and go, oh, it's extremely light. I put the balloon woman, source, take it out. Are you there, Valentina? That's her name. Valentina, oh, this is extremely light. Oh my god, is she okay? Valentina, come out. And the woman, the girl appears. So I think it's a very, very funny idea for an illusion. It 100% matches my style, using normal everyday things and trying to be more serious than I really am. That's something that I love when I perform magic. And yeah, these are the main ideas that I'm working right now. I would love to do the props for the popcorns, came up with a good original idea with the knots of silks, the same thing with the banknight and all that stuff. That's something that makes me extremely happy, and this is something that makes me even happier than performing. I love performing. When I perform a show and I kill, it's like, oh my god, this is the best feeling on earth. But when I've been thinking about a routine for a long time and suddenly an answer hits you, like, this could be an answer, it's like an epiphany. It's like the best feeling for me, even better than a good show. So guys, this is all the information that I have for you. I hope that you really comment below. I need your comments more than ever in this video. Ideas, please help me with the banknight. Who can I contact for me to create those sponge popcorn? And please guys, as always, I will see you in a near future. Bye there.